What is going on, everybody? My name's Brian and welcome to my channel. So I've kind of been in the market for a scanner for a while now, and I actually seen this Matco MaxMe, however it's pronounced, scanner on the truck a few times, and I was asking questions about it because it only costs $1,000. And this scanner does everything that your more expensive scanners are going to do. It has bidirectional controls, graphing, everything else that your more expensive scanners are going to do, but for $1,000. So I was, like I said, talking to him about it, and it actually works, if you don't know, on a monthly subscription basis, to where, say you want to work on a GM car or whatever, to be able to get access to be able to use this on a GM car, you have to pay $20 a month if you want to pay monthly. Now, you do have the option to pay on a yearly thing to where it's $16 a month instead, so you can save a few dollars. Now, you might say, well, that seems like that could be pretty expensive because there, as we'll see, is a lot of different makes that you can purchase. Now, they do give you the option to be able to purchase all of them for a month for $105, which does still seem to be a little expensive, and it can rack up over time. And you also can use all of them for a year and get it for $84 a month. So you can save some money buying it by the year as well. And if I'm not mistaken, you can just pay the $84 a month. You don't have to just pay for the full year all up front, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So you may want to keep that in mind if you're, looking at this or whatever. But one thing that I do like about it is I feel like it will be perfect for somebody who, say, just wants to work on cars at home or that is just starting a business, because you don't have to buy all the models if you don't want to. So say, for instance, if a GM car comes in this month or a few of them come in this month, then you could just buy the GM. If you don't have any Fords, you don't have to buy the Fords. If a Ford comes in, then you buy the Ford, and only if you need to use it. So it does kind of make sense for somebody like me, and it may be a perfect fit. So I had the opportunity to check this out. I did not buy this. I borrowed this off of a friend who just purchased it secondhand off somebody else. He paid $350 for this. So for $350, I feel like this is a really good deal because, like I said, this is going to do everything that your more expensive scanners are going to do for a lot less, because you're looking at paying for, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a really good scanner. Now, there are a lot of other options, which is why I've kind of been weighing out what would work good for me, because you could check out an Autel. You could get a good one for about $500. You could also look at Launch is another good option that you could find for pretty cheap. There's actually one on Amazon for around $400 or $500 that, I've heard pretty good things about. Now, the problem that I would have with that is you have to update these things. And that's where I think that the price kind of equals out, because you have to pay monthly for this, but if you want to continue to work on newer cars, if you bought a new scanner today for $3,000, every year you have to update, or however so often you have to update your scanner to be able to use it for the newer cars. So with this, you don't have to do that because you just purchase it monthly, so it automatically does it for you. So I feel like that kind of would equal out the price a little bit. Now, I have owned a Varus at one time, and I've actually owned it just recently. So I think the one I had was updated to 17.2, so it was like a couple years ago or something like that. And I actually sold it because I just felt like, I don't know if it was the particular one that I had or what, but it was just really slow. It took me a long time to be able to load any data or to do anything, so I had to just end up getting rid of it. It did not have the Bluetooth OBD2 reader like this one has. This one does come with an OBD2 reader. It has just a regular USB Type 2, whatever it is, just a regular Android charger that you can charge this up with, a headphone jack, a HDMI jack, and the little scanner comes on the side. You can pull it off, hook it up to your vehicle, and it does work through Bluetooth. And I don't know the exact range that they claim, but I have had this walking around, 15, 20 feet around the vehicle back and forth, and I've never disconnected. So it does seem to have a pretty good range. The Wi-Fi also works with a pretty good range, because my Wi-Fi is actually inside my house and it's still picking it up out here. So it does have a pretty good range picking up the Wi-Fi as well. This also has a pretty cool little strap in the back so you can slide your hand through when you're using this. And like I said, with the HDMI cord, you could also hook this up to an external monitor or something else if you needed to have a little bit bigger monitor or TV or whatever, so you can see a lot better. It also has a camera, so you can take pictures, forward and back camera. Now, one thing I have noticed about this that I really don't like is it seems to be, and I don't know if it's a particular one here, but it seems to be really hard to press the screen and be able to hit the buttons on the screen. Sometimes I'll have to sit there and hit 4, 5, 6 times just to be able to make it do what I want it to do. So that is one thing that has been kind of annoying, and I don't know, maybe over time it may desensitize the screen a little bit to where it picks it up a little better. So hopefully it's not all of them, and hopefully it's just something that maybe needs to be broke in at some point, because like I said, that does sometimes get on your nerves, especially if you're trying to work on somebody's vehicle. You don't want to have to sit there for 10, 15 seconds every few minutes trying to be able to do something with this scanner. You want to be able to press it, go, get on with your work, then just move on to the next one. So you don't want to have to waste any time, because time is money. Now, I have also looked at the Zurich scanner from Harbor Freight, and they have a couple different ones. And you have to ask yourself, what type of scanner do you really need? Do you really need something that does all this? And I feel like if you really want to work on automobiles, then yeah, you're going to need a good scanner, man. If you just want something that's going to read some codes, then you could probably find a little cheaper one just to read some codes. And these are not something, if you're new to this or whatever, this is not something that you could just buy and it's going to do all the work for you. It's going to give you a code. It's going to give you a starting point. You're going to have to know where to go from there. So it's not like end all be all. That's something that you can buy and it's going to just automatically make you a better mechanic, a better technician, whatever. It's something that's just going to be another tool in your hand. So keep that in mind when you decide what type of scanner you're going to want to buy. Another thing with the Zurich scanner that I don't really know about is I don't know who does their software. I don't know anything about it. Like I haven't really checked into it too much. Like if you need to update it, what do you got to do? Do you take it into the store? Whatever. So that's something to consider if you're thinking about buying something that expensive, because I mean, $1,000, it's the same price as this. If you're on a tool truck, you're going to have the convenience to go to your tool truck guy with any questions or anything. So that's definitely a big plus, but you're also going to have the ability to be able to go to the store and exchange it or whatever if something were to go wrong with the Zurich. So I would definitely have to investigate more before I decided, but I feel like this would probably be a pretty good fit for me. And now that I've got to check it out, I do kind of like it. So I may be kind of leaning towards purchasing this, but when I'm spending that much money, I'm obviously going to check out more than one option. I'm going to look at everything, because maybe I might go towards Autel or who knows. But I feel like that if you're working out of your own garage or trying to start up a business, I feel like this would be kind of perfect for you. Being able to operate on a monthly subscription. If you don't need it, you don't get it. If you don't work on anything this month, you just don't get it. So $1,000, I feel like it's a pretty good deal. Like I said, $350 he got for this. He got a really good deal. Now, if you find something like this secondhand, whether it be any type of scanner or whatever, one thing you're going to have to keep in mind is you do have to register this. Like you have to be able to register it to your name to be able to get the subscriptions. They have to have the serial number and everything else. So if you bought this off somebody and say, for instance, they didn't pay it off all the way, then, I don't know what would happen at that point, if you would be stuck with the rest of the bill, if you would just lose the scanner altogether, if you couldn't use it, whatever the case may be. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when you're thinking about buying a scanner secondhand, whether it be like a Solus or anything else. Keep in mind that the person that owned it may not have paid it off, and if they haven't paid it off, then that's not even their property to sell, and you can lose that property like with toolboxes or anything else. So definitely keep that in mind. But using this, I felt like that it works a lot better than even that Veris did. Now, a Veris isn't just a scanner, it's also a scope, and that's another thing that you would have to decide if you need a scope. Now, I don't know, I'm not like Scanner Danner or anything like that. I'm not like an expert using these, but I do know how to use them a little bit, and you really need to know how to use something like this if you're interested in working on cars, because newer cars are so complex and you really need to be able to understand electrical diagnosis and understand how to use a scope and a scanner if you really want to have any hope of working in the automotive field in the future, because the days of just, you know, switching out some parts are pretty much over, because they're so complex that it could be anything could be the problem. And that's one thing, like if you go to like AutoZone, and this is one of the main problems that I have with AutoZone. Say for instance, if you don't know, man, please never go to AutoZone to have them read your code. Yeah, it says free OBD2 scan and all this and that. Say you go to AutoZone and your check engine light's on. You say, hey, will you check this for me? They check it and say it's just a P303 or something code. So which is a cylinder 3 misfire. So the first thing they're going to tell you is you need spark plugs and wires. And man, it's probably not going to be spark plugs and wires. First off, you only got a problem on a third cylinder. So for them to tell you you need all new spark plugs and wires is ridiculous anyway. The only thing them guys are there to do is sell you parts. They're not mechanics. They didn't have to go through any training. They don't have to know how to use those things. They're just little generic scanners they use. And like I said, knowing just what code is popped up is not the end all be all. It's a starting point. So do yourself a favor. If you don't know what you're doing, if your check engine light comes on, ignore that free OBD2 reading from AutoZone, because it's not free. You'll go in there, they'll sell you the plugs and wires. If you know how to put them on yourself, it'll save you some money. You put them on yourself, you find out, hey, the code's still in there. So you go back and then they're gonna say, oh, you might need a distributor, you know, if you're using a distributor in your car, whatever. And then you're gonna buy a distributor and then it's still gonna be on. And then you're gonna end up paying somebody to actually do it, or your car's gonna mess up really bad at some point. So it may seem like it's cheaper in the beginning to just go there, get it done. It's not. Spend a little more, pay somebody to do it right, because those guys, they are just there to sell you parts. Like I said, just a little public service announcement. Don't ever go there to have them guys diagnose your vehicle, because it's gonna cost you in the long run, believe me. But like I said, I just checked this out. I wanted to share what I found out with you about it. If you're interested in this, you know, like I said, you need to ask yourself what you really need it for. And $1,000 I feel like is a pretty good deal for this. And it could cost you over the long run, but like I said, it's gonna cost you no matter what, because you're gonna be paying to upgrade any scanner. So you would have to sit down and figure out, you know, what option will work best for you. But I'm definitely leaning towards this now that I've got the chance to check it out. If you have any experience with this or any other scanner, especially the Zurich scanner, I'd like to kind of learn more about that, because I kind of do know a little bit about Snap-on scanners and everything else. But let us know what your experience with the scanners are on the bottom. What scanners you would recommend for somebody that may be interested in buying something like this. Try to help each other out. But I appreciate y'all watching. We're gonna have more videos coming up, project tips, tool reviews, and more. We're gonna try to get back into making videos on a more regular basis. I appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, stay real.